Okay, I'm getting live today once again, and today I want to talk about addictions. And you might think, why is he talking about addiction? I didn't remember these guy being a part of AA or something like that. Seriously, everything you do is an addictive behavior. Some people call that habits. And I truly believe that there are some healthy habits and some unhealthy habits. And very often they can't even be the same. I mean, seriously, can you work out too much? Can you be addicted to going to the gym and actually hurting yourself, hurting others around you with just going to the gym? Of course you can. And why did I want to talk about this today is just, I don't know why. I've heard that 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times probably, about the addiction to those. I'm sure you have a bit of that addiction too. And I don't know why. Yesterday, I think it's because a lot of desire for me to upgrade myself has been bubbling in the background of my mind for a while now. But yesterday, it just clicked. I don't know how well I'm going to go about Phoneaholic Anonymous and letting go of using my phone so much. But I really want to bring that to my own awareness of how addicted I am to my phone. And it's not only the phone. I've started paying attention to several things I've got addicted to in the last couple of weeks, months, maybe years. And the reason it's so obvious to me, and let's say, I feel it so vividly, and yesterday especially I felt it extremely vividly, is because I just reminded myself to the year I decided to quit drinking. So I just see like I have some up here out there. And I just remember, so as many of us, I had a big party one night and I decided the next morning, being totally sick, I woke up and say, why? Why am I doing this to myself? I'm going to never drink ever again. Ever said that? Ever had that feeling you wake up so bad? You're like, never again. I'm never going to take myself through this. And obviously after a week, I was like feeling amazing. I feel like that's good not to be drinking, because it's not that I was drinking every day. I was not drinking alone at home, but I was young. I was like 25. I was going out every single night, meeting friends in the bars, going to concerts. I was into music. So I was like having these social evenings every single night. So after a week, I'm like, you know what? What's cool? 1 week without alcohol. Let's celebrate. And I had too much. And I woke up the next morning and I said, no, not worth it. Not worth it. I mean, I had some fun yesterday night, but this is poison. I am poisoning my body. I have a reaction that is similar to poison. I feel bad, I feel nausea, I feel headaches. I had taken poison, I would feel exactly the same way. So I said, no more. But this is not a video about alcohol. My point is, when I stopped drinking, I was still having the same friends. I was still going to the same parties. And they used to know me as someone who also has a drink from time to time, and sometimes in the weekend might have more than one. And I remember how hard it was, not from my side to refuse the alcohol, but for them. They didn't understand. Like, they knew me as an identity. And with an identity, they knew me as someone who would party and celebrate and drink with them. And they would be like, why not? Why not now? What's up? Are you on medication or something? And they would be, but just a little one, just a little one. And remember, that was the hardest part. Like, again, I was never drinking alone. I never had that thing of drinking a beer at home. I never really enjoyed the taste of most alcohols anyway. So I was never really drinking alone, but I was very social. I'm still very social. So I would want to go out, and that's the way you connect, through alcohol. And I remember it was when it was offered to me, not if I had to do something, but when it was offered to me, how it was for me to control my body, which had a habit, which had a pattern. It was just an autopilot. And I noticed myself, it's like I'm in the the driver's seat of a car that knows the way and just like trying to hold back that car. And I was like, no, noticing that how much effort I had to put into refraining myself to stop accepting that alcohol. I think now that I'm sharing this, and again, it doesn't have anything to do about alcohol. I really want to go back to this and other negative habits. But it's the first time I think I shared this story publicly. And again, I did not consider myself an alcoholic, but I realized that, and by most people's standard, I was not an alcoholic. I was just like a social 25-year-old. But I noticed how hard it was still to say no, because there was this feeling that you actually feel like you're in control. You feel like, you know what, I could not have it, but I can have it. I'll allow myself to have that one. It's just that one. I could say no, but I actually want it. Bullshit. Bullshit. I had no control. If I would surrender, I would have actually felt like surrendering, giving up to the alcohol at that time. How often do I check my phone now? And I feel like, it's okay, I just need a break. I've been working hard. I've had 2 hours of work. I can just scroll on Facebook, social media, check my messages, check this. Oh, there's a nice article. There's Bored Panda. I probably am Bored Panda. So at that point, I'm like, it's okay. I've worked hard. I've done my part. I can surrender. I give in. It's like this glass of alcohol at the end of the hard day of work. I mean, I can say no, but I actually enjoy it. I do have control. Bullshit. I don't have control. I can only know that I have control if I can say no. And not say no and then say yes because, oh, see, I can say no. No, a real no, a stop, a full period. Actually, it doesn't turn into a yes. That's having control. And actually, if any of you here feel like you have an addiction of another sort, maybe it's alcohol, maybe it's sugar, I'm guilty, or coffee, or phones, or any kind of addiction, maybe it's addiction to social life, whatever. It's like the only way to know that you are in control and that it's not your habit that is controlling you is if you can say no. If you say no to say yes, it's not in control. If you say, I could say no, but I'll still do it, you're not in control. The only way you know if you're in control is if you can say no. And if you notice the resistance to going for the actual no, for example, fasting, food, fasting, like, yeah, I could fast. Well, do it. I know how addicted I am to food. I have done a couple of fasts, and I can tell you when you're like, yeah, I could easily go a day without food. Like, when you do, there's like this natural behavior of addiction that keeps going back to it on autopilot. And there are healthy habits. Like maybe you have this thing like where you exercise every day, you're like letting yourself carry it to it, and you're like, yeah, you could say no, but actually you don't have control, but you go, but it still empowers you. Here, I really want to make a distinction between two things. One is, are you addicted? Are you in control? Could you say no? And like, actually not could you, can you say no, a real no? Can you say no to the phone in the morning? Can you say no to the phone before going to bed? Can you say no to any habit that you have? And sugar or the coffee, can you say no? Are you really in power? And not when you're in a context that doesn't have it. Yeah, I smoked, but I went to my parents for 2 weeks. I did not smoke a cigarette. Obviously, maybe they don't know. Maybe you have another identity there. But when you're in a context where people know you for doing this exact behavior, and they actually put the opportunity in front of your eyes. You want a cigarette? Do you want a coffee? Oh, a little dessert. Or here's a beer. When it's put in your hands, can you just say no and not feel, a part of you feel that, I have this inner struggle. So that's the first part. Is it addictive or not? The second one is, can you make it a positive habit? Can you replace it with a positive habit, with a positive addiction? And so I noticed myself how addicted I was to checking my phones, whether it's in the morning or when I'm doing a break, when I'm like just want to zone out, and that's what I use. Just scrolling, maybe answering some messages, maybe actually working, but not really working in the same time. And then the other one is actually I got so excited because we moved to a place for 2 or 3 months, maybe we'll stay longer in this place. So I got very enthusiastic about upgrading my studio. I have brand new lights, I have this standing desk setup, I have all these gears that I'm very excited about getting for myself. So I've been spending a lot of time checking what's the best gear I could get. But I would get into the habits of checking, like maybe spending 1 hour a day. Sometimes I would spend 3 hours in a day checking the best lights, the best standing desk, the best monitor arm, to the point where I feel like, yeah, I mean, I enjoy the same way I could enjoy a glass of wine. I can enjoy it, but am I now doing it because I enjoy it or because it has become a habit? It has become something my brain, my body has gotten used to and just loops into that pattern. So I noticed that and I decided, okay, I'll not buy anything. Like, even though I see there's things I can do and upgrade on my studio, I'll say I'll leave it like this and I'll just shift my habits, my addiction to something else. And seriously, the moment you know you're addicted is if you decide not to do it and you feel like there's effort that is required for you not to be doing it. That's the moment. Like if you decide, oh, I'll spend a day without a dessert or a coffee and it's there and you feel like you have to resist it, then there's an addiction. I mean, I'm not saying you have to handle all your addiction all at the same time. I stopped alcohol over 10 years ago. I didn't handle my sugar addiction then, or I didn't handle my phone. Well, there was no smartphone then, but you know what I mean? You don't have to handle all of them. But how do you actually replace a negative emotion, a negative addiction with a positive one? The addictions are basically automated actions. And they're automated because it's just like, you know, when you go maybe to work and you drive to work, or you take your bike or you walk and you do it on autopilot. Maybe on a Saturday you still go there because you forgot that you were not going to work, you were doing something else. Like your body knows the way. That is exactly what an addiction is. You've just done something so many times that now you don't have to think about it, you're going automatically on that path. Again, imagine maybe seeing it in a forest, like there's the clear path because it's been walked so many times, which is much more inviting maybe than the bush over there, which you've never walked onto. So how do you create, like you've closed this path and you create a new path there because you feel like that's the new way you want to go? Well, what we think of ourselves is what we call our identity. Some people talk also about the ego, but I love using the word identity because it's easier to externalize it, to make it like a character. And that's something we do in our programs with Darian, especially at Next Chapter or in my Embodied Leaders program. We really work on this identity. What is the new identity you want to step into? So when we work at Next Chapter, we define your vision, where you want to go, that 10 years from now, where do you want to be? And who do you need to become to get there? Can you become that person right now? And once you have a new identity, you can take different decisions, take different actions automatically. You don't force yourself to change the habit. You don't say like you just say, I'm not a drinker anymore. It's not I stopped drinking, I don't drink, it's I'm not a drinker, or I'm not a smoker, or I'm not someone who checks their phones every day. I am you create a new identity where this reality, these habits that you used to have, is no longer something you get attached to. Now, for example, when I'm thinking about alcohol, I'm like, you can put as like all the cocktails on the table and be, maybe there's absolutely no attraction at all. There's even been for a long time rejection of it. But right now it's like, yeah, maybe, okay, if it's really exceptional, maybe I'll have a sip, I'll try, but I'm not interested, which is something which would have been unfathomable when I decided to stop drinking. But I had decided, no more, I am not a drinker. This is out of my lifestyle, it's gone. So really my invitation here is, first of all, to observe your day, to observe the actions that you take on autopilot, and to identify if there's any of those that could be abused. Some negative habits, a pattern that you do repeatedly that could be associated to a form of addiction. And the second thing is to say, okay, what new identity do I need to step into? And I just did that. I just get back to my future identity, which is like, what like the 7-figure Seb would do? How would he wake up in the morning? What would his day look like? Well, actually, that's my day now. I'm going to have my day done like this because this is what the future me does. And I am this future me. It's a part of me. Does that make sense? So, just a spontaneous video on that topic. I just wanted to share, maybe I wanted some support on like giving up this monster. So useful, so practical, but has so much power over us in so many ways. And I'm grateful. And again, it's not like it's 100% negative, like alcohol or smoking or eating or sugar or coffee or anything is per se negative. It starts to be negative when you are not in control anymore and it controls you. If you start controlling me, we're not friends anymore. I'm in charge. You're an object. I should be in charge. Does that make sense? So I want you to be in charge so that you can step up into the next level of your identity and free yourself from these addictions so that you can create the space. It's really, first of all, you want to weed out from your garden all these negative habits, and from there, with the space that exists, you will naturally find new habits to put into. I know there are many ways to address addictions and habits. I just want to share my take. First of all, you want to identify and notice it. Second, you want to hold back. And third, from that space that is created, find something that makes sense, that feels good to do instead. All right, if any of this is related with you, with your story, please share in the comment, type below. If you want your identity to be upgraded, and not only about addiction, because I really talk about leadership, but seriously, what good leader can you be if there's something controlling you? You cannot be a good role model 100% to people if you're not in charge of yourself. And I say that, and I'm guilty of that, and I'm not pretending to be perfect. I think we're all learning on that journey to take ourselves to constantly grow and take ourselves to the next level. So thank you for watching. Please type in the comment if there any of these related, if you want some more information about the programs I run on identity upgrade for leaders. And I'll see you very soon in another live, in another program, in another webinar or masterclass that I'm facilitating, or in the Facebook group, Superhero Tribe, a community for change makers that are passionate about growth, mindset, and impact. All right, love to all of you. In the meantime, keep shining. Bye-bye.